times a minute until just recently when I bought a dimmer switch. So I've been able to dim it down to 1 time per minute because it's an overpowered inline fan for such a small chamber. Now, that said, some growers do 3 times or 1 time every 3 minutes, and they do see great success. So again, this is where the variations in methodologies come in, and yeah, so that'll get into the climate control. I think the next most important thing to your climate is going to be looking at your lighting, and you know, again, lighting. Is there a right or wrong answer for a size room, or a room this size, or whether it's a little closet? There's no right or wrong size lighting because of the level of equipment that's available to us today. I mean, there's so much versatility that right now in a little closet I'm running, I'm running a 600 right now, but I was running 1,000 in a little 3 by 2 foot space with an inline fan, and a heat-cooled reflector, and I can exhaust that heat out of that little box, and I can get fabulous flowers. Problem is I can only do so many plants. So I have a space restriction. I'm legally licensed, allowed to grow 49 or 49 plants. Sorry, my wife and I collectively can grow 98 plants. That said, we're stuck growing 20 due to personal living conditions and restrictions. So when we look at lighting now, and we want to get into lighting, we want to look at spectrum. And please bear with me, because again, I'm going off the top of my head here. We got to look at spectrum. We need to look at exactly the light distribution going in the room. So when I say spectrum, I mean light's measured basically in par or wavelengths, in nanometers. And say I have my 1,000 watt hit here, right? And I'm 30 meters away. This is a 1,000 watt high pressure sodium bulb. It emits 140,000 lumens in the first 30 centimeters or so below. But as we move away and we get down to about 4 feet away, we got maybe 10,000 lumens hitting that area. So the farther away your plants are, the less they're getting, and the less light they're getting. Their spectrum, or PAR. Of course, the PAR is, I believe, between 400 and 700 blue and red is what we're looking for in general. And the bulbs have gotten so high tech that there's even 430 watt bulbs now. So I mean, there's conversion bulbs. And again, for that reason, I'm not going to get into all the various reflective hoods, heat-cooled reflectors, etc. We could have a class in lighting in and of itself. So I'm just going to have to kind of really jump through, again, due to time constraints. I'm 8 minutes into this, and I've got 30 to try and get on to some of the different questions. Eventually, we will have a Q&A session here that will open up to the people online as well as to the people in the room here to fire away any questions. I think finally is selecting your genetics, and selecting your genetics, and this is something our government has failed to understand, is that there's an evolution of genetics. Currently, I'm farming some genetics of my own. So this is evolution. The government has not tested those seeds. They cannot tell me how they work or for what ailments they work. And yet they would claim that they now have some sort of reasonable supply potential, or they're opening that up. At least they've accepted different genetics. So when I say genetics, you might hear sativa or indica. Sativas, for instance, are not popular, or pure sativas anyway. Like a Thai sativa coming over here will not be often grown by the indoor cultivator. Simply because of height restrictions. I mean, they grow really high. If you want to wait 8 months to get a really kick-ass stone, that's a choice. And if it meets your medical needs, all power to you. It's great, but it's just they can be troublesome to grow. Ruderalis is another cross, something that would give you a headache if you smoke it straight. But some breeders have bred some various crosses together and have had some incredible success in doing so. And in crossing the ruderalis, and one of these strains locally here would be like time warp, was a ruderalis cross. And the reason it was done so that it could grow better in our climate. See, the ruderalis was from this climate. So by crossing it, it grows better outdoors in this climate. And that's the reason that people are kind of doing that. And they do it in Ontario as well because of the cold, and it actually toughens up the genetics of the plant. And here our government, who has 4 different strains, is my understanding, down in their mine shaft, will only service 1 to the disabled, and they'd like to radiate it, but I'm not going to stray off into politics. Do my best not to anyway. And again, and this is where genetics comes down to the grower and what you're looking for. What are you looking for in your medical need? What are you looking for when you grow? Are you looking for high yield? Are you looking for your personal needs to be met? It depends. There's commercial growers that are going to be looking for high yielders and cost-effective type stuff, and then there's going to be the personal cultivator that's going to not be as much worried about yield as they are about whether it works for their medical need. So I think that's what separates the commercial grower from the organic grower. And I speak about organics solely because I like to say I'm an organic grower, but truth be told, we're always about 70% organics, because if you use rooting hormone on your clones through asexual propagation, you actually step away from organics the minute you use those hormones. And just for a little touch on that, I'm just going to kind of combine these. I really want to throw this out and open this up. I know that we have the ability now for people on the web to start asking questions. I would really like some questions to be fired in, especially because I don't have my full presentation ahead of me. Couple of last things, like a hydrometer is something, this is a $20 investment. This is something that we would have. I mean, this will give you the heat in your room, and the time of day doesn't really matter unless you got that in your timer anyway. But then your relative humidity. So this little $20 investment is what's actually going to potentially save your crop. You don't know what your temperature is running at. You need to either read your plants, be a green thumb, or rely on your meters. So that is a phenomenal investment. And of course, you're going to need a timer. I wouldn't suggest a plastic timer like this, but for those starting out, this is again about $25. You'll get a timer, and this is what you need to go into what's known as your photo period. Now, personally, I run no photo period during veg time. Now, people say to me, "Okay, Jason, how do you run no photo period?" Well, 24/0 is no photo.